Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde, and I'm redoing this apparently because I started the video for about a minute without realizing I had display capture on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So today we've got a patch notes reaction. I know I missed the last patch, but that's fine because we are going to get this one, which is not a big one. But anyway, Cyber Shadow 5.12 update. As you can see from the picture, we've got a new Dodgy skin on the way. But first, new Ares skin. Looks like we got inspiration from a Monster Hunter or something like that. Baroness Izanami to go along with the new Voodoo Pantheon. So, what better way to commemorate that than give everyone's favorite undead matron a nice voodoo skin? And we got Shadow Spirit Opwash. Don't like the voice pack very much, but it's cool. Hollow Knight looking thing. It's nice. And then the Cyber Fox Dodgy, which is the main skin showcased in this patch. Anyway, a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Primal Fire bundle, International Announcer Pack bundle, new awesome chest stuff, new Fantasy Point store stuff. Fantasy Point tipping has been removed from the game to prepare for a new positive player behavior reward system launching in 5.13. I have no idea what that is. Positive player behavior. What do they mean by this? Because reporting gets abused plenty. I don't know how they control that. A bunch of bug fixes. Gods should no longer fly into the air and die if they become stuck inside walls. Now gods should find the closest safe position to be placed there if they somehow do end up in a wall. As we know about the famous floating glitch, that can happen sometimes. Appears that is being disabled, finally. Fixed an issue where Stance Changer's passive meter cooldowns didn't match their actual cooldowns. Fixed an issue where Janus could ult out of bounds on the clash map. What about on the Medusa's deathmatch map? Because he can do that. Fixed an issue where daily bundle prices didn't visually update when coupons applied to them. Fixed an issue where party leaders would get an incorrect invite to client pop up after invites were accepted. Fixed an issue where God tooltips remain on screen too long covering UI or new screens. Clan rosters will now show avatars. Fixed an issue where all kills appeared as red team kills. Fire Giant UI icon should now properly appear on gods who are buffed by it. Skip forward, keybind has been fixed. Particle effects for which team killed neutral camp shall be more visible now. Nice. English. Fixed an issue where spectator would see 2 times bottom bars overlapping, 2x bottom bars overlapping upon loading into the game. Fixed an issue where Gold Fury and Fire Giant UI looked incomplete until they spawned for the first time. Fixed an issue where you could not scroll through all items in the item builder. Fixed an issue where players got no UI feedback when trying to buy a god they could not afford. Fixed an issue where players could get stuck in the tutorial. Audio, whatever. Reduces deathmatch. Fixed an issue where sometimes players couldn't see their ally gods or their pedestals. If a god's pet gets the last hit on an enemy god, the pet's owner will now properly get the power buff reward. Fixed an issue where the end of match lobby wouldn't show incorrect information or not enough players. Fixed an issue where viewing the adventures leaderboard could crash the game. God bug fixes. Fixed an issue where Baron Samedi gained an additional 10% of his magical power while consuming Baron's brew because he wasn't already ridiculous enough. Fixed an issue where life of the party couldn't be used while crippled. Fixing the missing FX on the Cursed King Kurnonos skin. Fixed an issue where Chernobog could reveal enemies for longer than intended if he died while using his ult. Fixed an issue where Kali passive meter wouldn't let her choose a new target after respawning. Fixed an issue where lobby animations sometimes did not play correctly for Nike. Odin fixed an issue where Bird Bomb combo would not work as intended if he had evolved High to the Urchin. What? Sometimes these interactions are really bizarre. Naja's artillery sash will no longer go on cooldown if interrupted before it has any gameplay effect. Fixed an issue where Ra's model would turn strange directions while moving and basic attacking. Fixed an issue where the Morgan's item build would be missing until she uses her ultimate. Changed Morgan's ultimate so that she does not trigger death effects when reverting back to the Morgan. Fixed an issue where Vamana's ultimate would not be extended in duration from taking hits. Fixed an issue where Ymir's ultimate would create debuff icons for his passive ability with different texts. Jesus Christ. Reinforced shoes. While the offensive boots have their pros and cons and see quite a lot of use, the utility boots struggle to compete. We are increasing the base survivability. Reinforced shoes bring both upfront and in extended team fights. Increased health from 75 to 100, which 75 health seems really insignificant to me when you think about it. Like, that's like nothing. That's an auto attack. Increase max passive stacks from 6 to 7. Get more stuff and more survivability, as it says. Awesome. Same with reinforced greaves, traveler shoes also, and Talari boots also got 5 more power added to them. Traveler shoes and Talari boots are also seeing a bump to ensure they feel like an impactful utility choice when compared to their more offensive counterparts. With a slight bump in damage, these boots should contribute enough damage for players looking to roam around the map fast. I mean, previously these weren't even at half the power of their offensive counterparts. Oh, this is a good change, and maybe you want to buy them more often. And talk about this. Survivability is always good. I feel like sometimes these boots didn't have enough of a reward for you deciding to actually use them over their offensive counterparts, which do significantly more damage. So these should feel tankier and more rewarding. Always good. Demonic Grip increase. Excuse me. In this patch, we are looking to help magical carries, which have been struggling in the later stages of this split. Demonic Grip is a core item that provides a large amount of attack speed and shred, but without enough power behind it, it is difficult to bring it into a build until much later. With a boost to the power, it provides it a much more attractive choice. I mean, does Kronos really need help? Does Soul need help? No. Soul's silly. I mean, she's got the attack speed and power buff built into her passive. So that wasn't broken enough to make that more annoying. Freya's still not going to be used that much. I mean, Kronos, is he underplayed? I'm not actually sure. I mean, he's still a good character. The thing about Kronos is he kind of functions better without this item. Honestly, because of the lower power, his passive, which is the main part of his kit, and which is the main thing that provides you with objective push, and a lot of it did not get as good of a benefit because it scales based on your power. So I guess this helps him more. No, I don't know this. Telkines is the late game powerhouse item for magical carries with the power passive was not bringing enough to really highlight basic attack damage for these carries. We are increasing both the power this provides as well as the passive to really allow magical carries to pack a punch late game. Increase magical power from 70 to 90. Increase power scaling on passive from 8 to 10% of your magical power. So if your late game carry build has 600 damage, you're going to do 60 bonus damage. If you're on a tower, that's a lot of shred. I mean, but why would you build this when you can, granted, yes, Shamans doesn't give you attack speed, but like it's a completely ridiculous item, and why would you not buy it instead of Telkines? I mean, whatever. God balance. Artemis has been showing off her late game carry potential this season using Tusky and her her ability abilities to pressure her opponents to great effect. continually high-res fails to use proper grammar in their patch notes. While susceptible to ganks, the crowd control immunity from Caledonian Boar really allows her to cut her opponents for support to arrive if she doesn't turn the fight on her own. We are lowering the CC immunity duration to lower how long Artemis can play without worrying about crowd control from her opponents. Decrease CC immunity from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, which actually matches up with the boar hitting the first target that it sees. I think it's about the same amount of time, so that's a good change, and its consistency to the ability, which is good. I mean, I haven't been watching the SPL much, so I honestly don't know how Artemis would be a popular carry these days because she can't move. She's really slow, except for her two, but she doesn't have a dash ability. Like, she gets ganked it, by someone who's got beads, like she's dead. I don't. Athena's the most contested god in the entire Smite Pro League. I've really not been keeping up, obviously, if that's true. She's been picked or banned in almost every game with a relatively balanced performance. Athena's a popular pick, but not necessarily a dominant one. So we want to be careful with her adjustments. One key aspect of her kit is that pros seem to use more often than the average players. Her late game ultimate, they will often dive with Athena, drawing out a lot of cooldowns of poke damage, then return to base, heal, and ult back into the fight. We want to slow down this specific strategy to help her curb her power level only at the highest levels of play. Decrease base damage 350 to 750 to 350 to 670. So now it scales up by less power at all ranks. So now it's going up by 80, 80, 80, 80. So it's 80 increase of 80 damage at all ranks. And increase cooldown, scaling from 110 down to 92, 110 at all ranks. The man of the hour. Everybody was waiting for this to happen, obviously. Baron Samedi. Baron Samedi arrived at the party in a grand fashion. We are specifically looking to bring down the amount of damage he's dealing through Vivid Gauge and when life of the party connects, combined with a few other bug fixes that will also lower his damage output, such as not gaining 10% magical power while consuming his brew. I don't know how that mechanic existed. He will rely more on the control he brings to the fight than his currently high burst. We will continue to watch his performance after these nerfs to really get a feel for any future adjustments. Decrease bonus damage targets take while at max hysteria from 25 to 20%. Fixed an issue where the second beam hit did 30% of the first beam's damage rather than the listed 15. Reduced magical power scaling from 80 to 70%. Wrap it up. Fixed an issue where targets with root immunity were still being rooted. And life of the party decreased base damage on hit from 140 to 420 to 100 to 380 because this does a lot of other things plus the percent health damage. You know, yeah, it's not that high power compared to other magical ultimates. But you also don't want to nerf it too much because he might lose a lot of power and effectiveness out of it. These are good changes because these are not like harsh changes to start with, which is good because if you take God, granted, he's really pretty ridiculous right now. But if you take a god and you just sort of like, let's nerf everything like crazy, then he could become unplayable, which is not good for the game. And that's kind of what happened to Raijin the first time they played with him. Anyway, Camazotz is getting a bump to his mana pool and cost as well as his sustain from Essence Drinker. These changes will help Camazotz stay out and engage his opponents more frequently without needing to return to base as early. Does he really with his two? I mean, like, what? I don't see the point of these changes. Slight mana nerf, everything brought down by 10 mana, 20 more base mana, increased lifesteal healing bonus from 3 to 6%. I don't know why. This seems pointless. Chernobog's global slow has really enabled him to excel at high level play, allowing teams to engage fully under his launch. We are making the slower to get going, allowing enemies more room to counterplay this effect. Vicious Barrage is also having his attack speed reduced, keeping his late game power a bit more in check. Decrease attack speed buff from 30 to 70%, down to 20 to 60%. 70% is just unnecessary. Why? It's so ridiculous. You really only have to buy one attack speed item. Living Nightmare decreased Shadow Slow from 5% stacking 4 times to 4% stacking 5 times. Yay. Slight nerf, and I think they nerfed the correct thing. No one needs that much attack speed. And Fafnir buffs Praise Be. This grumpy dwarf is getting a few small buffs to help him play more smoothly. Fafnir's ultimate requires him to use all of his abilities to get the most out of the ability, which can cause big mana problems for him. We are decreasing the mana cost of 2 of his abilities to mitigate this. He also had slightly lower base HP 5 than the rest of the Guardian pool, so that is being brought up to a more normal level. Increase base HP 5 from 5 to 7, decrease mana cost from 70 to 60 on underhanded tactics. Draconic Corruption, decrease mana cost from 100 to 70. Yay! Less mana, more health, happiness. And then the most bizarre nerf of the year. Mercury both excelled at early game clear speed and late game carry potential, causing him to really run up the ranks. We are reducing the base damage from the early ranks, made you look to keep his clear speed more in line with his late game potential. I mean, if you compare him to another assassin in this up here, like Camazotz clears about as well. I don't see why this needs to be done. I mean, Mercury's early is not. It's like it's not bad, but I mean, it's also the weakest part of his game. So why? I don't know. It's just weird to me. Anyway, guys, that's it for this set of patch notes. Be sure to tune in for the next one when it comes. And hopefully the Ao Kuang A to Z video will be out sometime this week. That's going to be a pain to do, but anyway. I will see you all later for some more Smite. Have a good one.